welcome back to the Ashes debrief. It's the end of day 2. First and foremost, lads, I didn't get the blue memo.
No, well, it's similar to my mood after day 2 here at the Gabba, Alex. A long, hot day in the dirt for England. Missed opportunities.
It's been one of those days. Australia are 300, sorry, not, we wish they were 200. No. They're 378 for 6. They lead by 44. Got a horrible fact for you, Dan. Oh. In the first session and the third session, they scored 280 runs in 50 overs.
That is Bazball, isn't it? It's from the wrong team. I mean, I suppose what we could say is that Australia have finally got the memo. They've learnt. They've embraced it. They've realised that we need to save Test cricket, and this is how they're doing it.
Yeah, England got out Bazballed in that first session, didn't they? Aided by some loose bowling, too short, and Weatherall just took them on, and uppercuts over gullies, and down to cover as well. Yeah, England will be disappointing with that drop catch early on as well by Jamie Smith. Doesn't help, but yeah, it was a disappointing first session.
Just something, sorry, on that drop catch though. It was very weird because Jofra, it was beating the edge from round the wicket. He was bowling beautiful thunderbolts. He was getting the ball to move and glide, and then suddenly, the moment catch was dropped, he came over the wicket and said, no, forget it, can't be bothered. If you're not going to catch it, I'm going to come over the wicket and just let you tuck one off the hip. And thereafter, from that moment on, I genuinely don't know what the plan was.
No.
Did you get the plan?
No, not really. Well, yeah, I didn't get the plan, and if there was a plan, I don't think it was necessarily executed correctly.
Well, I know that does come in the bowling figures. We'll talk about that later, but I think that's what I mean when it was a weird day, it was a flat day, nothing really went England's way. But when I say nothing went their way, they didn't really create chances for things to go their way. No,
apart from that drop, there was then that really kind of dreadful period in the sort of hour and a quarter before the dinner break, whatever we're calling the end of the first session, wasn't it? And the mood was very, I would say the natives were restless, we were angry, we were upset, we had dinner together, and there was a sense of dreadful sadness. But then, I don't know, in that second session, they sort of clawed it back, didn't they? Atkinson and Archer came on and they got it together. It looked like they knew what they were doing. But in the midst of all of this, there was Brydon Carse, who I don't know what he'd been asked to do, but I think bring up his 100 quicker than any other England bowler in the history of Test cricket might not have been part of the memo.
We saw Brydon Carse's pitch map, Tuffers, and he was bowling licorice all sorts, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously there was a plan for Brydon to sort of like become the try and enforcer, because they went very quickly to that short ball stuff, didn't they? And packed leg side fields and everything. So it is difficult to sometimes read a pitch map. But I think we just went to it a little bit too quickly. It's sometimes a little bit soul destroying as a bowler. You want to go out there, you want to use your skills, you want to hit that top of off stump and perhaps nip one back. But I think sometimes this England side just go a little bit too quickly to just banging it in and hoping that getting them pulling and hoping for top edges.
Well, we had that extraordinary thing where we saw the pitch map, and at one point England had bowled 361 balls not hitting the stumps and 20 balls hitting the stumps, and they took 3 wickets hitting the stumps. And you sort of thought, well, that seems to work, doesn't it? I mean, they are there for a reason. You get your LBWs, you get your bowls, and you might even get a caught as well, you never know. And for some reason they didn't do that. And when they did go at the stumps, then everything looked different. I know it's not as simple as that, because you're setting people up, aren't you? You're moving people around. But I think 361 to 20 might be an unacceptable ratio.
Well, we're talking about the opportunities created. England dropped 5 catches, 1 by Smith, Duckett dropped 2, Carse dropped 1 as well, and then Root dropped 1. It was just, you've got to take your chances, Tuffers.
Well, absolutely. As you say, it was a long, hot day in the dirt for England, and they did somehow manage to drag themselves back into it with that couple of wickets in 1 over. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, come on, let's go. And then Carey, first ball, just a real simple catch. And it just saps morale. You need these things to, to be taken just to keep moving forward. And you could just see the head starting to drop a little bit. And then all of a sudden, they were just going down all over the place. I mean, you can't afford at the top level to start shelling 5 catches. It just knocks the wind out of your sails.
And will England be feeling that now, post-play?
Oh, yeah.
Australia have a lead, they're going, oh,
No, absolutely, and you could just see it in the body language a little bit there. Ben Stokes was trying to gee the guys up, but you know it, and your mood deflates, and you just think to yourself, well, we got ourselves back into it, and we just threw it away a little bit.
There is one bit of mood that didn't deflate here at the Gabba, and it was the crowd. Smith dropped a catch very, very early on, and every single time the ball was thrown at him, till the very last ball of the day, the crowd would cheer. One, how did they not forget, because they'll have had a few pints, and two, that's how relentless it can be here in Australia.
Well, it is. When you get to Australia, it happens the very moment you get off the plane. Right? And I suppose Jamie Smith would have known this. Unfortunately, he's a bit more identifiable than the other players, with having gloves and pads on. So it actually was quite funny, and I thought he took it really well. He was smiling throughout. But he also got some really horrible throws that were coming into him, and then they would go through his legs, and things like this would happen, and the crowd would jeer and laugh, and yeah, I mean, it was all in quite a good nature, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But for Jamie Smith, that is the sort of thing that he would have been dreading, because we all know, don't we? I mean, you've been through it.
I was going to say, you've been through it. Well, how does it make you feel?
It chips away at you. It really, really does. And I'm afraid he just looked a little bit leaden-footed and a little bit startled, really. And the other one, the Joe Root drop, well, I think that might have been his when he should have gone to his left-hand side. Joe Root was was wider at first.
So is that almost because then he's a little bit more timid behind the stumps?
Yeah, but then it sort of affects your legs, and they become a little bit leaden, and you don't quite know, and you're indecisive and things like that. So he's going to need a good day tomorrow.
I mean, it's a contrast, isn't it? Because yesterday, one of the things that was really startling was actually Alex Carey's keeping. He was brilliant. He was standing up. He nearly got that incredible stumping. He did nothing wrong. But Alex Carey's a keeper. And Jamie Smith hasn't actually kept a great deal for Surrey. They've got him. This is how they've squeezed him into the team, basically. And so I guess today was a bit of a rude awakening for him. But, can we talk about the catch of the day? There were two brilliant catches.
That's my next note. Amazing. No, go.
Right, so we'd had one brilliant catch already. Marnus Labuschagne diving full length to get rid of Jofra Archer. We thought we're not going to see a better catch than that today. Well, after the Alex Carey drop, that meant actually that Steve Smith came on strike, and that crazy over, the mad over from Carse, started with a wide, drop catch and 2 wickets. The second of those wickets, Steve Smith, he's got a lot on it. He's actually whacked it behind square. Suddenly, Will Jacks, he's not just taken a diving Superman Inspector Gadget catch, he's done it about 2 feet behind his right shoulder in mid-air. It was unbelievable. And one of the things I loved about that was when he took the catch, everybody ran to him except Stokes. Stokes was standing at like mid-wicket. He was like, and he took his cap and he threw it in the air like you were watching a 1920s FA Cup final. You know, whenever everybody scores,
with a rattle.
Yeah, got a goal, and everyone will go, hurrah! And their hats will go flying in the air. And then Stokes did that. It was a really lovely moment, actually.
Well, and England were back in it from nowhere then, and then that sort of period of play with the drop catches really hurt us.
Well, we've got to talk about that, Tuffers, because yesterday we spoke about Harry Brook getting out and the lights being on and the door opening. Cameron Green stepped back, missed the Yorker, the door was open, England back in the game.
No, absolutely. I mean, it was a strange shot, wasn't it? I mean, it really was a strange shot. We were kind of dead and buried there a little bit, but, you know, both of the guys were on about 40 or 50 runs, and, you know, just to back away and completely expose your stumps. Decent bit of bowling, the double bluff from Brydon Carse.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually. And he got a wicket, but, yeah, that did open the door a little bit, but we dropped the ball. Simple as that.
His right foot, Cameron Green's, was basically halfway to Brisbane International Airport.
It was
hilarious.
It did bring back Ollie Robinson vibes from the COVID Ashes at Hobart, didn't it?
Yeah.
It really, really did.
It was wonderful the way he was having to kind of like, oh no! He suddenly realised, didn't he, as that ball was searing into the base of middle stump, he was crouching down as if he was squatting on a Turkish lavatory. Yeah. It was an extraordinary moment.
But I mean, he's a very tall man and got a very big wingspan, as we keep going on about, but not that big.
Not that big. Do we think, Tuffers, this pitch is a flat belting surface?
Well, it is. The cracks will slightly start to open up. There has been a little
bit of it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did see a little bit. I feel sorry for Gus Atkinson. You know, I think he's bowled all right, with not much luck, you know. And he hasn't got a wicket so far. And that starts to just weigh on you a little bit. You know, come on now. I want to get into this Test series. But I still think, you know, it's a pretty decent pitch. I think England will be disappointed that they didn't make the most of that last session and get another couple of wickets. You and be bowling at the tail, because these two guys now in the sunshine tomorrow, flat pitch, they can hurt England.
Yeah. There's one more thing we've got to talk about as well. Ben Stokes, he might be in the bin, he might be injured, we don't know, he's fine.
Yeah.
Ben Stokes was a little bit ginger towards the end of play today, Tuffers.
Ben Stokes, ginger.
Well,
he was, which we all in the commentary box went, oh no, is he all right and everything. And Harry Brook ran up to him a couple of times and just said, right, sometime, that was a good bit of sort of vice captaincy from Harry Brooks.
Yeah.
But
take the ball out of your hand, you're not bowling anymore.
Absolutely, but hopefully he's all right, fingers crossed.
But actually, it wasn't just him, was it? What was slightly concerning, and I know you guys have been talking about it a lot, about preparation, match fitness, and there's not a lot you can do about it if you don't have lots of games, or you haven't played games for a long time, but saw it a bit at the back end. Jofra Archer's last spell was that, I mean, he came, and he was one of the slower looseners you're going to see.
Yeah.
And I know, look, they're long days, but they're not as hot. When you play day nights, that back end isn't as punishing as like being at Adelaide at 40-degree heat in the sunshine, is it?
There's a difference between fitness and game fitness. You can be doing the bleep tests in your trainers and sort of like, oh, I'm feeling fit, feeling strong, running around the ground and everything like that. But you've got to have your feet have got to be hardened. You know what I mean? The muscles have got to be hardened in Australia, otherwise you're going to struggle.
Your feet do hurt at the end of a day's play, don't they? There's one really important passage of play I want to talk about. It was England's second session, and the only question I've got about it was, what was their plan?
Dan.
Well, I'm glad you've come to me, because I did not have a clue. And this was the thing that I think is the most startling. So often with Ben Stokes' captaincy, it's very clear what it is that he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can argue he goes to different pans a bit quickly. So if he doesn't get a wicket, he can change tack quite fast, can't he? But I guess the problem is, and Tuffers said about this a moment ago, he said, was it the plan or was it the execution of the plan?
Yeah.
So Stokes might have had a plan, but the problem was you're peering through the gloom thinking, is the plan really to bowl a bunch of filthy half trackers and then follow it up with a half volley? Yeah. And I don't suppose it was. I imagine what he was trying to do was to get balls to come in sharp. But we said this yesterday, it's a bit tennis bally bounce, isn't it? It's not like at Perth when England looked really dangerous. It was horrible sharp bounces coming up into here, wasn't it? Yeah. Whereas this was a little bit city in the pitchy, wasn't it? Yeah. If that's a phrase.
2 more points. One, Tuffers for you.
Yeah.
Do England miss having a spinner in their bowling attack?
Well,
they had Jacks today, bowled 1 over, it went for 13.
Absolutely. Well, now I'm thinking to myself, well, if you're going to go to that short ball theory so quickly, you may as well play the extra seamer, a Josh Tongue. If you're going to go through the rhythms of the game and sort of like, and then things aren't going so well, a spinner comes into it and everything. But if you're not going to have that sort of middle period of the game, you may as well just pick 5 quicks and keep banging it in.
Especially because Tongue actually, he moves the ball as well. He bowls so quick.
Oh yeah.
He gets a bit of reverse, and with the pink ball, I'd have been fascinated to see what he'd have done with that, because he loves to go full length, doesn't he? And he likes to go at the stumps. They call him the mop because he takes out the tail.
Hoover.
And with the Hoover, is that it? One or the other.
Bit of rabbit pie, whatever you want.
Yeah, bit of rabbit pie. But he's a man who does target the stumps. He loves to do that, and England didn't do that enough today. And I do think he would have been an interesting option.
Right, now for the fun part. This is where you guys get involved. Don't forget, this is the Ask Me Anything part. Scan the QR code on your screen now. Emma's been in touch. Dan, we've already discussed it off air. You're going to take the reins on this one. Why is Steve Smith batting with patches under his eyes?
Okay, so this is very simple. The idea is that here the lights are glary, right? So you take the black things, you stick them under here, and it's supposed to absorb the light. My problem with it is they're gloss, not matte. What he should be doing as a pure Australian man is daubing 2 fingers of Vegemite and just squeezing it along like that. That is matte, not gloss. That would absorb it. Obviously the English should have Marmite. I'm surprised they didn't bring a large supply.
Well, today was a bit like Marmite. If you're Australian, you loved it. If you're English, you hated it. Anyway, Australia lead by 44. The highlights are on the iPlayer at 5 p.m, so please tune in. And I'll be back tomorrow, probably not with these two, and I might wear blue.